Hey y'all, and welcome to Routeless, the podcast for the career dreamers, the late bloomers, and the what am I doing with my life crowd. I'm your host, Grace Kasprak, and here we get real about the messy, winding, and totally unpredictable journey of figuring it all out. Each week I sit down with someone who's somewhere along the path, some who found their path, and some who are still paving it. And we talk about the real stuff, doubt, risk, passion, purpose, all of it. So if you're craving clarity, connection, or just a reminder that you're not alone in this, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Okay. Welcome to Routeless.
Thanks, G. Thanks for having me.
You're the only person that calls me that.
I don't even know why I do that.
I don't know. It just started one day and it kept going.
I feel like it is a toxic habit I have. I literally did it in class the other day. I called someone, I gave them a nickname that they didn't tell me I could call them. And I feel like I need to check myself. So if you're not feeling G, you just let me know.
I love any nickname
and I'll reel
ever.
it back.
I have 1,000% decided that any children that we ever have will be named with names that have forever nicknames.
Yes.
Because I have none.
Oh
I have
my
zero.
gosh.
I mean, Grace,
yeah.
What are you going to pull from besides G?
G.
That's literally it.
Wait, that's really cute.
Yeah. So
okay, after we'll have to do a little debrief on names because, girl, you know I got a list on my phone.
Wait, what's your top name?
We'll have to do, we're really big on, okay, I should preface this. I'm really big on family names.
Okay.
My partner is like, why are you limiting us to just like family names? And I don't know. I think there's something is like drawing me to just A, stay within a family name, but B, I feel like if I didn't have those guardrails on, dude, I would be going through every name in the book.
I need like
blue. I need guardrails. Like I need something to keep me on track. But to your point about names that have like built-in nicknames.
Yeah.
So my husband's grandfather, who was like, other than his dad, like the biggest like male presence in his life. His name
I just got goosebumps. I love that.
Wait, cute.
You go. Love it.
His name was Robert, and that's also Andrew's middle name. So we want to do Robert if it's a boy, and that has like, so you could do like Bob, Bobby,
yes,
Rob.
so many.
And also, have you ever
cute.
Have you ever met an asshole named Bob? Like, no. Like that's
actually
just
some of
good.
I know 2 Bobbies, and they both are incredibly kind.
Right? I'm like, I've just never met a bad egg named like Rob, Bob, Bobby.
It's the classics.
Yeah,
it's the classics.
Yeah.
It's like. Well, I was going to say Dave, but I've met a Dave that's an asshole.
Okay, so Dave, we're taking
not
off the table.
that, but like, it's those classics names.
Yeah.
It's like a Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you've never met like a Jeffrey.
100%.
Actually, maybe. Okay, not the point here. I'm picking bad ones.
We're on the same mind track, though.
Exactly. Yeah. Robert was Grandpa's middle name.
Andrew's grandpa's first name. Andrew's middle name is Robert.
Yeah. Dane is the same way.
Wait, and I was going to say, that name is like, okay, real quick. When I first met you guys, I was on the way home, and I was like calling Andrew to be like, hey, I'm on the way home. I was like, by the way, Grace's husband name is Dane, and that's such a sick name. Like, that is a sick name.
Right?
And that's a family name.
Yeah. See, I would carry it down, but I feel maybe like a middle name.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
that would be a
cute.
that would be a good middle name too. That would be a cute girl name
some.
too.
Dang.
I'm just saying.
I love a unisex name.
I'm just saying. Me too.
I love a unisex name.
Me
but
too.
his middle name is Stanley. And his grandpa's name is Stanley. And they all call him Stan.
Stan. Like, you've never met a bad Stan.
Met a bad Stan. Ever.
My mind, and then I promise we will get on track. My mind immediately goes to, like, speaking of never met a bad Stanley Yelnats, to all my Holes readers out there. Wait, oh my God, come on.
Wait, whoa. No. I read and watched Holes.
Yeah. Stanley Yelnats. It's their family name, so the dad's name is Stanley Yelnats, or the grandpa's name was Stanley Yelnats. The dad's name was Stanley Yelnats. Then not Caveman, who's the main, Shia LaBeouf, who's like his character.
Yeah.
He's
whatever.
Stanley Yelnats too. You just don't hear that name because the kids at camp call him like, I think it's Caveman.
Yeah.
Check out the name's Caveman.
Dude, I haven't seen this movie in so long, to the extent of like, I don't remember any of this, but I remember watching it probably 30 times before the age of 15.
100%. Gotta go back and rewatch.
I do. I really, really, truly do.
It's too good. So just another good Stanley that's out there in the
Stanley.
world. So I think it's a great name.
Okay.
Stan? Hell yeah.
100%. But like, do I want... Not like Stanley's a bad name by any means, but when I think of a Stanley, I think of like big round glasses, like nerdy, which like, I mean
Bob as well. I'm right there with you.
But Bobby's not.
Yeah.
Like I know some very like alternative, like really hip Bobbies, you know? I really do. Like,
but this is
ahead of their time, like on with it, trendsetter Bobbies.
But this is kind of why I love Stanley, because I feel like, y'all, it's getting crazy out there in the streets. Like, people are naming their kid. We're going, like, so progressive with the names.
What's her name? Francesca, whatever?
Yeah, I know.
Named her kids Evening and Afternoon.
Like, we're just getting too wild. Like, I love the idea of bringing it back to thick glasses. Maybe, like, you know, just a more traditional... Stanley, I think the world needs more. I think the world needs that.
See, on cue with what you're saying.
I like it.
The girl name that we want, Rosalind. Think about the multitude of nicknames. You got Rosie, you got Rose, you got Lynn, Lenny.
Oh my God, I love.
I know. And then
I knew a Rosalind growing up. She was
really?
We cheered together in high school. She was a senior, I was a freshman, so she was like cool girl.
I love that.
She was also like the best. She was the best. Oh my God, Rosalind, if you're
you
out there
just
listening,
can't have a mean Rosalind.
100%.
Unless you're like old and grouchy.
Yeah.
But like you've never met a young Rosalind that is mean.
I love that. You can truly take that so many directions.
I know, right?
Wow. Would you call the potential child by the nickname, or would you call them their name and then let like their friends, society, like give them the nickname? Or would you like bestow the nickname upon them?
I feel like that's going to be a game time decision, to be quite fair, because do I see myself being like, Rosalind?
Yes.
Yeah. Do I see myself being like, Rosalind, can you get the butter out of the fridge? No. It's going to be like a Roz.
Roz is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let it happen organically.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know. But like, I teeter-totter with picking their nicknames versus letting others pick their nicknames. It's like a control thing. Like, do I want to have control over that, or do I just want to let it happen naturally? Like, I feel like the less I control, the better.
Yeah.
But like, at the same time, I'm not going to yell the full name all the time, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's what's funny is when I talk to my parents and we talk about like, how did y'all pick names? Like my name and my sister's name have like nothing to do with our family tree, but my mom was like, oh, I wanted to pick names that didn't have easy nicknames. Like I wanted people to call you like by the name we gave you. She was like, you know, so I named you Kristen, and I was nervous people would start calling you like Chris, which like some of my best friends do. But I like love that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, if I've gotten a nickname, it means like it's like from a place of endearment. Exactly. Yeah. But it's funny, my mom almost like over-indexed the other way, and she was like, we're gonna do names that like don't really have nicknames. And I'm like, guess what? My friends figured out a way anyways. Like I've got so many different ones.
Wait, what's your sister's name?
Taylor. So that's like an easy, I mean, Tay.
Okay, yeah.
Like Tay is a nickname that I feel like can come from that.
But there's not many.
Exactly.
They're like, they're short within the name.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like creative outside of the name. Nicknames.
Yeah, exactly.
My parents were similar, but they decided to name us with the most basic white people names you've ever met in your life.
You have 3 siblings?
I have 3 older brothers.
That's right.
I will include middle names.
Hit me. Is it like Henry, Thomas?
Just wait, it's worse. Just wait. So we have Grace Elizabeth.
Straight off the Mayflower.
Literally Liz, the fellow coach. Her name is Elizabeth Grace.
Oh my God.
And then we have Jack Cameron.
Okay, that's a freaking great name, though.
But it's Jack. Like, it is a great name. None of them are bad names, but they're all, like, incredibly basic. Right. You know? Like
we're like white bread, Wonder Bread names. Yes. But, like, I mean, there's a reason they're classic, right?
Then there's a Samuel James.
Okay. Does it go by Sam?
Sam.
Okay.
Just Sam.
Yeah.
And then we have Jeffrey Benjamin.
I knew there was a Jeff in there.
My dad's name was Jeff too.
I was like, there's a Jeff in there.
He was creative though. His middle name was Nolan.
Oh.
And that's fun. I love that.
That's really good.
I want to include that in one of our kids' names.
You've got some good,
We got some good material to work with.
Some good foundation to work with.
Yeah. Okay, so since your husband's named after his grandpa, who's the most important person in your life? Besides your husband.
I was going to say, yeah, because on his side, I mean, like, and he'll say it, he's like, outside of my dad, like, that's the most important, like, almost like parental figure is not the right word, but it's just like figure in his life, was his grandpa.
What's it called? Someone you look up to? Like a
role model?
Yeah. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
I mean, I would say without hesitation, like the person that has shaped me the most, and like I'm sure we will get into a lot of this for sure, my mom. Like,
okay,
when we really break down the psyche, like there are so many things I can point to now that I'm an adult.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it growing up
100%.
that I'm like, that's mom, like 100%. So I know that's kind of like a basic answer,
it's
but
not, though.
very much so my mom. And like, I think too, something that I would like to incorporate for any potential future family that I have is like being around extended family. So when I think back to like, you know, my mom being the most influential person for me, I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina. No other extended family was there. So it was me, my mom, my sister, and my dad. No like grandparents, uncles, cousins, that kind of stuff. Everyone was all spread out. So super close with my like insular family, but I didn't have those same relationships that, for example, Andrew, my husband, had, being so close to his grandfather.
I feel that.
Where, you know, that's a huge reason we chose to move back to Charlotte, effectively.
Is that where they all are here?
Yeah, his whole, like, his nuclear family, so his mom, dad are in Charlotte. His older brother, his wife, their 2 kids are in Charlotte. So just like a lot of immediate family close by. That's like so important to like, I also never thought that would be important to me when I was younger. I was like, I'm going to be cool and like go travel the world and da-da-da. And now I'm like, oh my God, being close to family is like really important because I want that experience for any future family that I might have. I want them to be close to their grandparents, to have close cousins that feel like siblings, to know their aunt and uncle super well.
Yeah.
Not that I like don't or didn't have good relationships with extended family. It just is a bit of a different vibe when you are not physically with them as much. So yeah, that's definitely something I think maybe my answer would be different than like my mom if I was surrounded by more close family. But like going back to your question, like my mom, that's my girl.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that I grabbed onto was you were saying like, probably sounds really basic. I feel like it's the complete opposite. I feel like nowadays you don't hear a lot of people being like, oh, my mom is like my person.
Yeah.
Because it is a rare relationship that I feel like isn't coveted as much as it like it used to be in previous generations.
Yeah, true.
Whereas now it's like a lot of people don't have good relationships with their mom.
It's true. Well, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this. Like the mother-daughter relationship is a intricate one, right? Because
100%.
I think like the father-daughter relationship is like all like sunshine sprinkles, like warm. The mom-daughter, you have so many
layers,
like shared experiences, but also layers and contrast. Sometimes it's like that woman on woman, like to your point, sometimes it doesn't always work out in people's favor. It can actually bring more strife than like closeness. And for sure, like, I mean, like any teenage girl, I went through my shit with my, and that was me being a little brat. That was not on my mom at all. But like coming out of the backside of that, I was like, oh, I don't hate my mom. She's actually like, she is me. Yeah. Or she is what I want to be. To your point, role model. She is what I want to be in 30 years, 40 years. Like,
and I think every mom's dream, and maybe, I mean, I'm not a mom, so like I don't know yet, but I feel like every mom's dream is to like have their daughter become the better version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so I feel like hearing you talk about your mom in that way and then elevating it even further and being like, that's who I hope to dream to be. Totally. I feel like for her, that must be a really coveted thought. And probably makes her like insides really happy. Her heart probably grows a little fonder, but she probably even pushes it further to be like, well, I want you to be better than how I was.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And I think that's where I certainly witnessed this growing up with some of my close friends and their mom, to our point earlier about just like there's a balance there too with mothers and daughters. Like I almost saw it over index into that toxic space of like the mom wanted the daughter to be so much, to be her, but better, to a sense that some of my friends' moms were like inserting themselves directly in their daughters' lives, making decisions like for them based on like what they would do.
Yeah.
And we all know that like doesn't end well. So I got respect for the moms out there. It's a tough balance to strike because I think you're 100% right. Their dream is to see, you know, their daughter prosper even more than they did. But sometimes that can cause them to like overstep and come in and like that's a tough relationship to balance too.
100%. And I think it comes back to that like whole thing that we were talking about earlier about like control versus uncontrol, like the whole nickname situation. I think it goes hand in hand with that too.
Yeah,
like
so true.
I feel like as a parent you want to control everything because you want them to be better than you.
Yeah.
And I think at some point you just have to be like, it's out of my control.
Yeah.
Like I just gotta literally rely on the fact that I hope I raise them right and hope that they make the right decision.
Exactly.
But I will speak from someone who was raised with parents who never really interjected.
Yeah.
My parents were like very, not like hands off. Like my parents, best friends. I love both of them. Yeah. Was I a daddy's girl or a mommy's girl? Neither. I was both.
Yeah.
But growing up, 3 older brothers, I mean, by the time they got to me, of course, they were like, she's the least of our worries.
100%.
We really don't have to worry about her. But
100%.
with that came a lot of like trust and like not need to control.
Yeah.
And with that created so much responsibility and like confidence in myself. And I see, or at least like growing up, I saw so many parents like really have their hand on the light bulb trying to twist it the entire time.
For sure.
And it just like panned out and like took a hit on the relationship.
Backfires. Yeah.
And it's like, to your point, it's such a freaking balance. You got to know when to put your foot down, and you got to realize that like that in between area is really chalky.
Yeah, it's if you see, I look like a crazy person, I'm like smiling and nodding, like yeah, because it sounds like we have really similar upbringings in terms of like how our parents approached behavioral like rearing of their kids. It was the tagline that like my dad always used. I mean, both my parents fell into the same camp of being. They were just like, and if I could sum up their parenting in one tagline, and I feel like this bleeds through to even aspects of my life, like why I'm the way I am now. They were like, we'll trust you until you give us a reason not to.
100%.
That was like what they said, i.e. they were like, hey, we're going to be hands off. If there's a situation where we realize, oh, we got to get in there and we need to get hands on and we need to micromanage, then we'll do that. But until you give us a reason to do that, we're going to let you be independent, figure out your own kind of stuff. 100%. And I feel like I am so grateful for that because I truly feel like, to your point, it equipped me with, we had responsibility placed on us. We were like, here is this thing. I must do like the trust that they gave me. I was like, this is a gift. It's also a responsibility. Yeah. Like I can be independent and I can do stuff that I want. I was no angel as a kid. Let me put it that way. But I feel like I like really, it taught me how to like strike a balance between how can I use this to push the boundary to the point that I can responsibly and be able to still achieve and do the things that I want to do with this independence that they've given me. It's like, it's a hard balance. So shout out to the parents out there. I mean, like you said, I'm not a parent. I don't know. That sounds way easier said than done.
100%.
I'm like, dang, shout out. Because I feel like we had very similar upbringings, it sounds like, and that's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah, like y'all are literally raising a full human. You're molding it.
Yeah.
That's a scary job. Yeah. But I mean, jumping into like your childhood, which I mean, like similarly, yes, I also grew up far from extended family. So I'm like right there with you. Yeah. But when you were a kid, what did you want to be? Oh, I feel like that's such a hard question because it changes so much. But let's say at like 10, you're old enough to know some options, not old enough to know all the options.
Yeah. You know what the crazy thing is? When I was 10, and this is going to be, when we start talking about my current job, you're going to be like, what? Like, how did you go from that to this? And there really is no clear explanation. But when I was 10, I had a very clear, like, talent and passion. I was like, this is what I want to do. Ooh. So I wanted to be an author.
That's so fitting.
When I was 10.
That you're going to write a book one day. But I just know you
but
are.
But it like makes no sense with what I do for like my day job today. But
I see it.
But genuinely, like ever since like young, pre-10, I was always reading, writing, obviously not when I was like way younger, but writing when I got the capacity to write, like
Age 5.
Yeah, like
Chapter books.
In elementary school. But I think it all stemmed from a natural like passion for and talent for reading. Like I was reading at a super young age. I was a voracious reader. I'd go through like, but we would come home from the library and my mom, we'd have a giant canvas bag just like busting open with books, and I would crush those books in like less than a week. I'm like, when are we going to the library next? Like I was obsessed with.
Were you quiet?
Reading and books. Not really. I've always been a very like social.
That's such a like
child.
Not odd. That's such a rare combo.
Weird. Yeah. Like I feel like when I explain it, it sounds like I was in a corner like reading all the time, which I like wasn't. I just would read at like any spare, like reading while I was like eating breakfast. I'm talking like 5. Like reading while I was eating breakfast, I would like sneak in reading in the car. Like anytime I don't.
My motion sickness. Never.
Anytime I could do it, all the way up through. I remember. We always would take like one family trip a year growing up. And there was one when I was a freshman in high school. Twilight had just come out. Y'all.
Oh, girl.
Y'all. The way I like tuned out the family vacation and I was like just reading. We'd be driving through like the Grand Canyon. My parents were like, look at this beautiful view that we have like afforded our family to come look at on this family vacation. I was like, sick. And then I was just like head in my book, like obsessed. So I'm talking like any spare moment, even on like trips with my family, I would be reading. So that has been consistent throughout. And I think that kind of just like naturally bled into writing. I like really enjoyed that. I think it's a pretty natural extension of reading. And I used to have one of those little, this is really going to age me, one of those Apple desktop computers. If you've ever seen Legally Blonde, it's like the laptop she had that like the colored colored.
I may be slightly younger than you, but I was raised by all the people that are right there with you.
Yes.
So all the stuff that you talk about, I will 100% know. Yes, I'm very familiar with the colored white, clear, little Apple computer.
Mine was clear and blue, that like neon blue, and it was the desktop version. I got it. My dad kind of like collected like computers. He was really into that. So I was like, hey, can I have a computer? I really want to like write something. And he was like, okay, like if that's what you want it for. So I literally wrote a historical fiction like novella when I was in 4th grade. So it was probably like 10. How old are you in 4th grade? I don't know.
5 when you go into pre-K.
So I think like 10, 11
6,
maybe?
7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 or so. So spot on to your question.
That's wild.
I wrote, it was called Michelle's Diary. I could literally tell you what the book is about. It's so embarrassing. Wrote this whole historical.
Is it
like,
low-key good?
Novella. My 10-year-old self would like to think it's good. I sent it to my grandpa at the time for him to read it, and he was like, this is good. We should take it to a publisher. And then this was...
Okay, but like a book written by a 10-year-old, like even if it sucks,
I feel like my
would
grandpa...
still buy it.
I feel like my grandpa was just saying that because he was my grandpa and he had to be like, this is good. We should take it to a publisher.
He was probably so proud.
Yeah,
You were a 10-year-old writing a book. When I was 10-year-old, I was collecting roly-polies in like a tin can. Okay?
But I was doing that too. Like this was literally just like a little hobby that I did.
A little hobby.
Lo and behold, this was before like the cloud, backing up to really any technology. We had a thunder, like a storm come through. My parents can attest to this.
No.
A power, like our power surge because of it, and the computer died. So I have no access to the book anymore.
No.
I could try to rewrite it, but so yeah, that was a really long-winded way to say. When I was 10, I was like, my passion is writing and reading, and I want to like take that forward into what I do. Fast forward to now, and we'll get into this, I'm sure. That is the opposite of what I'm doing, but that's what I was up to when I was younger. Like,
did it ever change, or was it like pretty consistent?
I mean, I think as I went into high school, for example, I started shifting my hobbies to more like, because as we talked about, I was also a very social person.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, do I want to shift my hobbies to things that will aid and abet me to be a more social being? I took that path. So I got into like sports in high school. I got into like clubs at school, like student government, that kind of stuff, which didn't leave a ton of free time for like writing. So I, chose the social path. I always still like loved reading. I just wasn't like cranking out novels like I was when I had the time when I was, younger. So eventually that morphed into more hobbies that served me in a social way.
Yeah.
Because that's what was important to me at that time. I had a passion for being social and building a community of friends. But it's still something today, writing, that I do. I feel like I was a little nervous coming on this podcast because I feel like auditory speaking is not my strength. Like, writing is how I convey my thoughts the most clearly.
See, that is a wild conception though, because for all you people, Kristen and I are fellow solid core coaches, and when we went through training,
the trenches, baby,
it was like a kindergartner trying to speak. That's what we sounded like during training. Literally. Okay. And Kristen was probably the only person that would pop up there and whip it out perfect every single time. So for you to say that you don't think you're good at speaking and you're better at writing, like, your writing must be immaculate, because your speaking is like always on par.
You're far too kind.
I'm not, though. It's honest.
I feel like I'm sure a lot of people probably feel this way. Like, I love chatting. I don't mind like public speaking. I just feel like I am I'm concise and I can get across exactly what I'm trying to convey when I write it. When I talk, I feel like I muddle it up with too many words. Okay. Like, I'm just like, if Fair. Like, a good example is Andrew and my husband and I, like, when we would get in like arguments, when we have like a debate, a difference of opinion, when we're talking about something really serious, this is going to sound literally crazy coming out of my mouth. I will write it to him in a letter. Like, I will be like, this is my point of view on this. And I feel like I can only get it across in a way that is going to be straightforward, calm and collected when it's like through the vehicle of writing. And I feel like it's when I express myself in my truest. I feel like if I talk about it, I literally muddle it up with my words.
Okay, but I feel like, first off, that's probably like an amazing therapy tactic. I don't know if you just came up with that, or if you like someone told you to do that, but that is
Coach me.
Literally an amazing tactic. Knowing yourself well enough to know when you're in like a conversation or discussion or an argument with your significant other, and recognizing, first off, I don't want this to get heated. Second off, like, I want to be able to actually communicate to you what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And thirdly, being mature enough to be able to stop it before it happens, and then be like, okay, this is how we need to approach it from here on out, is so, first off, mature, but then also such a sign that you know yourself so well. And I feel like that is rare in itself. Yeah.
Oh, girl, we're out here trying. I'm telling you, I do not have it figured out, but we're trying things to get there. You know what I'm saying?
You're killing it. So that is wild to me.
Like,
I want to read something of yours.
I'll give you a letter. I'll pass on a little nugget.
I love it.
Like, I think that is such a long-winded way to address your question that, like, am I still writing like novels in my spare time? No. Am I still finding ways to incorporate writing as a way to convey my like truest self and truest thoughts? 100%. Yeah, I still find ways to do that in life. And I feel like I do it like at work to an extent, but it's definitely a theme that I've carried forward. Tried to.
That's awesome. So, like, moving into high school, I know you said you played sports and, like, did a lot of hobbies and stuff.
Yeah.
What did you leave high school being like, oh, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Was it still an author?
I think I had dropped the author concept at that point. I think high school is where I really, not to, like, bring it back to, like, where my mom plays in all of this, but high school were the formative years where I really, like, looked at my mom and started to shape and model behaviors after that. So my example there being, you're in high school, like junior year hits. I knew I wanted to go to college, just for like, for the coursework, but mostly for the social experiment that it affords you. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go to college and live on my own for the first time, and what I'll learn in class is gonna be important, but like what's even gonna be more important is like the socialization that I get. So like, I'm not necessarily going to college like for a specific job or vocation in mind, but like I'm going to go and I'm going to learn a bunch about how to be a independently functioning adult. And I'm probably going to create a network that's going to afford me a job in the future. So I was like planning on college, not necessarily going there for a specific job.
You just wanted to go and
just
figure it
wanted
out.
to go. And I kind of knew going into college, being in high school, I was super involved, super busy, multiple clubs, year-round sports. And kind of to my point earlier, through all of that, it's a huge time commitment, not only for me, but for my parents as well. Dude, they're schlepping you back and forth to all this stuff. You've got competitions, you have games, you've got, whatever. And I kind of started to realize my mom, I'm really going down rabbit holes. Sorry if this makes no sense. My mom I grew up in an interesting household. I call it like flipped household. My mom was the primary breadwinner for our household. My dad was like more of a stay-at-home dad. He owned his own business. But in the sense of 9 to 5 primary breadwinner, that was my mom. And so in high school, I'm doing all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, mom's got a full-time job. She was at all of my, literally didn't miss a single thing, was always at all of my stuff. She was in sales. She was a pharmaceutical sales rep.
Wow.
So
That's hard to do both. That's props to her.
Dude, boss.
Yeah.
Boss. And she was really good at what she did. And it was high school when I realized, I looked at that, I was like, this woman's got a full-time job. She has a full-time family. Yet she is a full-time mom. She is at all of my stuff. We have all of our meals together as a family. I'm starting to put 2 and 2 together in high school that her job being in sales has afforded her the opportunity to do both. It's a job that flexes to the life that you want to build. She kind of dictated mostly her schedule. So she was able to have a super successful career, but also be a full-time mom, at least from my perspective. So going into college, I was like, sales might be something I want to look into. If that's how my mom was able to kind of do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would be so funny to have her on this, because I'm sure she'd be she tells me all the time, she was I felt like I was failing all the time. And I was letting stuff slip through the cracks. But from my 16-year-old perspective, I was like, this woman's doing it all.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So going into college, I was like, okay, this seems like a sweet gig she's got. I feel and me and her are very similar personality wise. I was like, maybe I have natural skills that will lend me to this job, but also that's the kind of life I want. I want to have a full-time job and have the opportunity to have a family. Let's go. So I think going high school is when I realized that was a lifestyle that was achievable based on what she was able to do. And then going into college, I was like, okay, you don't really go to college to go into sales. No. You go to college to get socialized, create a network of people that can help put you in a position to go into that type of job. So that's kind of was my approach.
I feel like,
when I went
first
to
off,
school.
the fact that you were able to be in high school and recognize that within your mom, I feel like is very insightful. I feel like most high schoolers would never put 2 and 2 together. And they'd be like, oh, my mom's in sales, whatever.
Yeah. And I feel like hindsight might be a little 2020. I'm probably giving high school me a little too much credit, but it was enough to the point where I knew I wanted to do it going into college.
You still got to the point to where you were like, okay, I think this is a possibility for me. And then secondarily, when you were talking about going to college, not necessarily for a degree, but to do everything in between, I was just talking to my cousin a year ago, and she took a gap year because she didn't know what she wanted to do. Yeah. And I was like, college is not just to take classes.
Right.
As a woman especially,
right,
going to be independent your first time in your life, right, there's an insane and immeasurable amount of growth that happens in those 4 to 5 years.
100%.
That you can't get anywhere else.
It's a social convention more than it is anything else. And I feel really, really, I say this knowing I was in an incredibly fortunate position to have the opportunity to look at college, to say, hey, I have an opportunity to go grow as a human with college, I fully sit here and realize in the minority in terms of people who are like
100%.
afforded that opportunity. So I don't treat it lightly at all. And I'm not here to say like, oh, college is just for you to go and like party for 4 years. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm like feel very fortunate and very privileged to have had that opportunity. And I just viewed it as, you know, I'm not going to show my class, like my roster of classes that I took to a future employer and say, this is why you should hire me. I'm going to say, you should hire me because I have 4 years of experience under my belt through going to college by building a network of people who can put me in a position to take a job, things like that. So almost in a weird way, I'm saying like, even for maybe someone who's listening, that's like, hey, college is not on the table for me. It's just not something that I am able to do. Like, you can still get those experiences not going to college. You don't have to go to college to take courses and to get a degree. Like there are other avenues where you can gain life experience. Yeah. And it's about creating a network within your sphere that you parlay into a job. So I'm also saying like, you don't necessarily have to go to college. I just so happen to have the privilege to do that.
100%. And I think college is great for some people, and I think it doesn't fit for others, and that is great and dandy. 100%. I also think a lot of people, it's not in their cards to be able to go. Totally. And for some people, I think similarly to you and I's point, like it is there for reasons beyond just taking classes. Yeah. And I think for, you know, people where college is not in the cards, like find a community. Totally. And network that way. Totally. Like, as the old saying goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. And that could not reign more true for probably any experience in my life.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Like in your last episode, I was listening to Alex saying like she's in ministry, and she was like, the thing about ministry is like ministry is everywhere. It just depends on like what you're ministering to. And I feel like that same way about college, like you can get that experience of college is really just a social convention. We talked about it earlier. You can get that through a number of different avenues if college is not something that's feasible for you. Absolutely. And college is not the the only route that you can take to put yourself in a position to, you know, be in a professional career after that. So
yeah. So during your college experience, I know you said you went in and you were like, I think I want to go into sales. Yeah. And you left probably that way too. But during your college experience, was there anything that did pique your interest and you were like, that's a big fat no after you leaned more into it?
This is crazy that you asked that question, and we did not even talk about this before, because yes. So I had a little like a freshman year crisis where I like came in, I was like, okay. I was like, sales is like cool. I think I want to do sales.
I can only imagine little you being like, sales, like internal dialogue, sales is really cool. I think I'm going to go into sales.
Right. But like coming in as a freshman, you're faced with choices that's like, you must declare a major in like a program that you're going to go into. And sales is not something where you're like, I majored in sales. So I was like, okay, I have to like pick something. And as I mentioned before, my mom was in pharmaceutical sales. So I grew up with her professional career being centered around the medical field. She was meeting with doctors, talking to doctors, at hospitals, at clinics all the time. So I was like, okay, like I probably want to go into sales like in the medical field. Maybe I want to pursue like almost like a pre-med type path, because if that's what I want to go into, I should like start exposing myself to that field early. So I literally declared my major freshman. Well, we didn't declare a freshman year at Clemson. We did like gen eds. But I was like, I'm going to take the gen eds that are required for like a pre-med major, like biology, basically.
Lord have mercy.
Okay. Freshman year, Bio 110. Shout out to everyone that was in that class. I sat in that class. The professor was like, hey, so this is Bio 110. There's like over 100 kids in this class right now. He was like, this is a weed out class. By the end of this class, 40% of you will be gone. And that's the reason you take this class, because it's going to prove to you, like,
are you here or do you not want to be here?
Like, are you going to commit to this, or is this not your path? Because if you're going to go pre-med, like this is this is just the first
Yeah.
hurdle. And
This
I'm
is the
sitting there-
basement.
I'm literally sitting there next to my best friend Jocelyn, who, by the way, is a freaking dermatologist now. She's one of the 60% that kept on the track, and she made it. I'm sitting next to Jocelyn. I'm like looking around. I'm like, who's he talking about? Like, who's going to be gone? A quarter through that class, I'm on the phone with my mom, and I was like, so I think I made a mistake. I was like, I hate this. Talk about growing up being very like language arts, reading, English minded. Dropped me in a science first class. I was like,
There's
like my
nothing-
brain did not compute
No.
what they were like. It just didn't work.
No.
My brain was like not functioning in that way to understand that level of biology. I was like, nope.
Absolutely.
I was like, in order for me to succeed, and I've always been type A overachiever kind of like vibes. We can get into like my type 3 Enneagram. It's a whole thing. But
So am I.
so are you. Knew it. My type 3 self was like, I can tell very clearly I'm not going to be successful at this unless I sacrifice every single other part of who I am. And I like
Ounce
only
of
do this.
My personality.
I like only do this. I will be like in the library, like this will be it. I was like,
Yup.
can't do that. Can't do that. I don't see a path where I'm going to be successful, have success, have achievement in this. I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, great, guess what? You don't have to have a biology major to be a successful salesperson. Like,
Yeah.
like
Pick anything else.
literally. Yeah.
Anything
She
else.
was like, girl, like do something else.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I did have a quick blip freshman year where I was
Okay.
like, okay, I'm going to like elevate my ability to go into some kind of medical sales by having a biology background. And then I was like, I'm not doing that.
No. What did you end up with?
I'm not doing that.
Where did
Marketing.
you-
Marketing. That was like the closest thing to sales. I was like, okay, well, like if this is what I want to do,
That's
like
fair.
I'm going to pick the thing that's closest to sales, and it's marketing, and we're going to go for it, and never looked back after that.
No, that's so fair.
Cannot believe I was in Bio 110. That's like laughable now to think about.
Girl, I knew going into college that was not in the books for me. They said
I
science,
listened to your
and I
last
said,
podcast. You were like, science, I'm out.
Nope.
I'm gone.
Not for me. I said anything about people, I'm down.
Right.
Anything about inside the brain, outside
In.
of people,
In.
out. Not for me, but people, I'm in all the way.
100%. 100%. It taught me real quick, and it humbled me real quick. But also, I do feel like it does speak to my psyche of how I approach anything. And this is a toxic trait for me. If I approach something and I feel like I am going to be bad at it, I will shy away from it. Like, I only want to pursue things that I think I'm going to be really good at.
No, 100%. But I don't.
How type 3 is that?
Ooh,
So
see,
bad.
Okay, I'm also type 3, so this
bad.
is like an egg egging on another egg.
I know.
But like, I don't know. There's a boundary there, okay? It's first off, like, am I going to be bad at this, willing to be bad at this long enough to become good at this?
Yeah.
Is that bad truly just because I haven't refined myself? Or is this really just not in the cards for me?
Yeah, like not in my nature.
Yes. And I feel as if there's that fine line between doing that and not willing to do that. And then the secondary line where it's like, okay, but I'm good at this the first time I do it.
I know.
And now I thrive at it.
And then it's like, oh man, now we're like really opening so many cans of worms. It's like, okay, well, if I were willing to put my ego aside and push past some of these things, is there like a passion path that I like could have gone down that would be even more like fulfilling than what I'm doing now? We'll never know.
We'll
right?
never know.
We'll never know because I
Yeah.
never allowed myself that ability. I kind of gravitated towards what I like was pretty confident I would be good at, but also what was proven to me. I like saw the path. I was like, okay, I'm basically the exact same person as my mom. She was crazy good at this and she had an awesome life to boot. Like, I'm just going to go down that path.
Yeah.
Like, that's the path for me.
It's two ways. It's either smart
It's like-
because you know yourself so well, or
Or you cut yourself off at the knees sometimes.
exactly,
Yeah.
100%. And I think as maybe type 3s or maybe just like individuals that like identify a
Yeah.
certain way, like I feel like it's just a gut feeling. You either know or you don't.
Yeah.
And
sure.
there have been so many times in my life personally where I've been doing something and I get about 10 minutes into it and I'm like, this ain't for me.
I know.
I can feel it in my gut. I thought it was going to be good and it's just not.
Totally.
And then sometimes you start something and you're like, okay, I suck at this, but it's kind of fun.
Exactly. Well, and I think that goes back to in that moment when I was like, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to pivot paths away from, in this case, it was biology. Like, I had a real chat to self and I was like, hey, like, going back to what we talked about out of what I wanted out of my college experience, I was like, do I want, like, it's not that I can't do this. I can do this, but my experience is going to look like me having to cut out all of my energy from other things. That means like getting involved on campus, doing social things, being involved in like leadership roles in clubs, like none of that. I'm going to be studying in the library. I'm going to have to like put all of my energy towards this.
Yeah.
Or do I want to find something that also allows me to take advantage of all of those experiences? And I chose the latter. And it's funny, like, that's pretty aligned with when I looked at my mom's life and I was like, oh, she's able to kind of like do it all. She doesn't just put all of her energy into her job and then there's nothing left for her family. I was like, oh, she like found a path that let her do both. It was almost kind of that same mentality when I was in college. I was like, I could just do this. It's not going to be my one thing. Or I could try to have a maybe more balanced experience, and I went with the latter.
It's also like, to your point, when you first began having this conversation, you said I went to college not for the classes. I went to college to get the experiences everywhere else. If you'd stuck with pre-med, I almost said bio, but with pre-med.
I just like laugh when I hear it out loud. Like,
you would have completely lost all the things, all the purpose that you went into college.
I would have been going for a degree that was only meant for one
not even applied.
Thing. Yeah, exactly.
What you wanted to do.
Exactly. So it was just like a little like real life. It was like a real life test of my hypothesis. Yeah. It turned out to be right.
I love that. So then you graduated.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
Had my job on graduation, which I feel like super, super fortunate to have. So after the little pre-med blip, I was like, all right, sights are set on sales. And like a true salesperson, it's like, okay, we see the goal, we see the quota, we see whatever you want to call it. What are going to be my steps to get me there? So I spent a lot of my junior and senior year seeking out opportunities that were going to set me up for that. So an example was we had and I should backtrack and say Clemson, love it. Oh, the best experience. We are an engineering first school. Like all of our resources get put towards like engineers. Like they get all the great job opportunities. You go to like the engineering career fair at Clemson. It's like, oh my God, these like incredible companies, amazing opportunities. You go to like the business one and it's like crickets. There's like nothing there.
Sad.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to really have to like do this myself if I want a legitimate opportunity in business. So I just kind of sought out like the professors who had connections that I were interested in. So there was one professor at Clemson who he ran our like professional sales like club. Crazy.
You were in a professional
sales club. Y'all, it's as nerdy as it sounds. We did like mock sales competitions, like the whole nine.
Oh my gosh. Did you win?
But we did not win. I did not win. We also did like a debate competition one year. Oh my God. We came in like dead last. Hey,
you got to start somewhere.
Allie Parsons, Danielle Dank, if y'all are listening to this, a shout out to us at Georgetown trying to like pitch our business case to like Georgetown Business School. Oh my God, it was a crash and burn. But like getting these experiences under my belt, again, not because I'm like, oh, if I do the Georgetown debate competition, it's going to like give me a skill in debate that I'm going to use. I was like, no, I'm going to meet people who work at companies that are like exciting. Like I was like just seeking out ways to get my name and face in front of people who I felt like could help me achieve my goal. Sounds 100%. Really like almost manipulative when you say it out loud, but it's about building that like network around you.
But there's also intention there.
There's intention.
It's like every relationship that you make is a give and take. Like for example, you don't become friends with someone that you don't like because you don't like them.
Yeah.
Like, you become friends with people that you do like, that you do click with because you get something out of it.
Yeah,
and that's
it helps better you as a person.
That's
Yeah.
not necessarily I'm using you. That's
100%.
like, no, you make me feel like a better person, and therefore I can become a better person. It's the same thing within a career related situation.
100%.
I get along with you, and you also have a career that I'm aiming somewhat towards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I find that people want to help. Like, if they're in a position that you're trying to get to, it makes them feel good to help
Yeah.
you. So I sought out this professor. I had kind of heard through the grapevine that he had relationships with IBM, which was one of like the employers I was targeting. They did not recruit at Clemson. They were like,
Okay.
cute, we recruit at UNC Chapel Hill, like a few other schools. They didn't come to Clemson. But one of our professors had like some personal relationships with people there. And I was like, hey, like, they don't come looking for talent from Clemson, but like all I'm asking for you is to get my resume in front of the right person. I'll take it from there, but I need an at-bat. Like, I'm not going to they're not going to pull my resume out because it's not one of the schools that they source from.
Yeah.
Like, would you feel comfortable floating my resume by them and at least getting me that initial conversation? Like, I promise I will take it from there.
And I will also do you proud.
And yeah, exactly. Well, and you know, that was kind of my intention in asking him. I was like, if you feel confident in me as a candidate, like, do it. If you don't. But, you know, luckily he was like, okay. And he was very clear. He was like, I can get you a discussion with the hiring manager. I can't help you from there. Like, it's all you. And I'm like, okay, done. That's all I need. So ended up going through that process. Me and two of my friends, ironically enough, the two girls that I did the case study competition with, we all ended up, because that professor like helped us with the case study competition, we all ended up going into IBM's, it's like a sales program, almost call it like an MBA for if you're going into technology sales. It's a 9-month program where they like invest in you, they train in you.
It's like an apprenticeship. They
Totally.
like pay you, right?
Exactly.
And you like go in, it's like your
Nailed
job,
it.
and then you
Nailed
like,
it. Apprenticeship was like perfect.
Yeah, but like you basically get paid to like work into the real position.
That's exactly right. Basically, at the end of the 9 months, like, it's on you to land a role after that 9 months. They're like, hey, come in, join the program. We will pay you as you ramp. You're also responsible for networking internally, marketing yourself. That way, when the 9 months is over, you have a job. If you don't, that's on you. Yeah, that's on you. So yeah, we ended up doing that program. And that was my first job out of college. It was going into technology sales. I had no technology background. Like talk about, I was going to do a biology major to like sell to, you know, doctors. I would need like a computer science degree, which I like did not have. But I was like, I learn quickly. I ramp fast. Like, I'll learn technology, even though it was like never something I was passionate about, never something I had a background in. Went into it because it offered the most opportunity at the time. And I'll say this to you and any listeners out there. I'm not afraid to admit this. Most people go into sales not because it's like a glamorous job. It's a lucrative job.
Yeah.
Like, most salespeople are financially motivated.
Yeah.
As was I. I was like, okay, like, I'm financially motivated. What's a field that's going to reward me in that sense? When I graduated in 2015, it was tech sales. Like, people were ripping it in tech sales. And I was like, well, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Given that I kind of like gave up on the like medical aspect, I was like, oh no, like, what's another lucrative sales position? I was like, technology, that's it. So yeah, that's how I landed in tech. Came in with no technology background. That is 100% like a learned skill through my 10 plus years in tech sales now. But it was such an incredible opportunity to start my career. I'm like, would not be where I am now if it weren't for IBM starting me out. So shout out you guys. It was incredible. And it was also a crash course in real world because it was more of an apprenticeship. It wasn't like it was almost like a professional internship is like almost a way I describe it. We like cut our teeth hard in that program. We fell down, got up, and it prepared you for like what the actual role was. So I couldn't have asked for like a better opportunity. Truly look back on it with so much gratitude.
What was throughout those first 9 months, what was your biggest learning curve?
I think my biggest learning curve, because I was going into it really self-conscious. I was like, shit, I have no tech background. Like there were some people in my program who were like, yeah, I was a computer science major undergrad, or they were coming from another job where they like had tech chops. And I was like, I can like not even use Excel like really well.
Yeah.
If I'm being totally honest, like I was like, I'm like really unprepared for this role to literally talk to like executives about technology. I think my biggest learning curve coming out of that was in sales. I'm sure this is applicable to some other jobs too, but in sales, it is not about your knowledge of the product. You will learn that. That will come. My biggest takeaway is like, it's about how you create your brand and like set yourself up for future opportunities. That has nothing to do with your knowledge of tech. It's about how you treat other people. It's about how you, again, create that reputation for yourself of, hey, she works hard. She's a team player. She learns quickly. She's willing to lean in and help put in work when needed. That's what's going to get you the job. Not she's really proficient in big data analytics. Like, no one cares about that. They care about like how you make the customer feel, how you treat how you work with your extended team, because selling is a team sport. Like that was my biggest learning. I was like, oh, it's like not about the technical proficiency I bring. It's about the soft skills that make someone want to work with you, basically.
You're not a software engineer. You're not required to know the nitty gritty in the weeds.
Exactly.
Things like your job is sales, which is people.
And that was my biggest learning. I was like, oh, they're not hiring me to be a technical resource.
No, they're hiring you because you've spent your entire past 4 years focused on how do I get myself from point A to point B with people.
100.
And therefore you basically had to sell yourself the entire 4 years of college to get to the first position that you were in. So they might have hired people because they had the knowledge, but the people skills are a lot harder to teach. And it's so funny. I'm going to reference like Alex's quote again. She said like, everything's a ministry. Everything is also sales. I don't care what type of job. Everything.
I don't care what type of role you're in. Like
even outside of your role.
Or outside of your role.
Just
literally
life is selling.
Life is sales.
Like that sounds so dorky, but like even like relationships.
Well, and you're
married,
someone who's not in sales,
other,
and you see it. Yeah.
Like I had to sell myself to Dane, not in the way that y'all's brains
you're
are going.
You're like
to.
simmer down, everyone.
Chill your brain. But like I had to sell myself as like the person that I truly and authentically am. I think so many people get it twisted where they're like, no, like that's inauthentic to try to like sell yourself and to like show, who you are as a person. Like that's inauthentic to you. You shouldn't have to do that for yourself to make friends or meet people. And I'm like the opposite. Like you have to sell who you are as an individual because people can't read your mind.
Exactly.
People don't know who you are unless you show them.
Yeah. And
showing them who you are is selling yourself to that person.
Totally. People don't want to admit it, but yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And I mean, it kind of like validates me coming from someone who's not in sales as your vocation. You're like, yeah, I sell every day.
But like,
you just don't realize that you are.
No, 100%. But like, did I grow up entirely my whole life saying I could sell a pair of socks to a person who has a drawer full of socks?
Girl, you come over to tech sales whenever you want. You would crush it.
Corporate America doesn't fit me at all. Have you met me? Yeah, no.
You would crush it. But yeah, it's so true. I think that was like my biggest learning is, and at that time I was an adult, but I was like, oh, like whether I realized it or not, everything I've been doing up to this moment is about like putting yourself in a position with people around you to achieve the end goal you want. That's sales, baby.
Yeah. So, all in all, you are now in sales.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
10 plus years.
Not me. Yeah. Truly. Ever since I graduated, I've just like.
Have you ever like had a moment where you were like, I should be doing something else?
100%. And at the time, like looking back on it, I feel like that is the most normal thing I've done to have like a quarter life crisis, but I fully had one. It was right before I left IBM to go to Salesforce, which was my second company. Like I was at IBM at just what they weren't like innovating, like not a lot of like creativity was happening within the company, and I just felt like stuck. I was like, ooh, I was like, I'm looking down the barrel of my growth trajectory here, and I'm like not seeing it. And I freaked out because it was the first time in my professional life where I was like, oh, I need to make a change. And I think I interpret it as like, if I'm going to make a change, I need to like fully make a change, like out of this career path, because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So there was literally a point in time where I was like 4 years in at IBM. I like didn't see the growth trajectory for my career there. And I was like, I am going to go to nursing school.
Oh,
crazy.
After your whole debacle with pre-med.
Literally, Grace, if the spirit of G could have come to me and been like, what are you doing? That's what I need to, I went into like pure panic mode because I am so type A, and I was like, this just like isn't going according to plan. Like I was doing fine in the job, but there was not, like I was looking down the barrel of like being in this same role for 20 years. And I was like, oh my God, I started to panic. I was like, this is like not what I want. And I was like, I just need to do like a drastic change. And I was like, maybe I just need to like, maybe it was the type 3 in me that was like whispering in my ear, you could have done something in medical, but you didn't. You chickened out. Maybe I was like, okay, I'm just going to like try for that again. It's like too late to do med school, but I could always do like, I could become like an NP or something. And like, truly a panic moment that lasted probably about like a month. Like I was like, okay. I really like re-centered after I kind of had to come to Jesus with myself. And again, it was really my mom who like pulled me out of the fog. She was like, now I'm gonna support you in whatever you want to do. She was like, this is a change. Like this is a really drastic change. I feel like this is coming from a place of like, not that you want to do nursing, you're just like desperate for something different than like,
you need a change.
She was like, you need a change, but maybe not like a full 180.
Yeah,
like,
maybe you just need a different company.
Right. So I was like, okay. And she kind of like re-centered me on like, what was important. It's not like sales that I didn't like. It was just like the current situation I was in. So I ended up obviously staying in tech sales because that's what I'm doing now. I just went to a new company that had like a really cool role that had a lot of growth opportunities for me. Did that for several years, and then kind of the same thing in tech sales in particular. I think growing up, I was like, oh, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to do that job, that role for 40 years. Because that's like what my mom did. Like, and I also feel like that was generational for our parents. They like picked a job
and stuck with it.
And they stuck with it. And I was like, oh, I need to like be at the same company for all 40 years that I work. And I learned like modern tech sales is not that way. They encourage you to like move around because it helps advance your career. You can get pay advancement opportunities. You can get role advancement opportunities rather than staying for, 30 years, 40 years. So, I did Salesforce for several years, loved that company, that job. It was amazing. And just took something new because I wanted to, again, like advance where I was going through my career. So now I'm at a like very opposite from IBM Salesforce. I'm at a pre-IPO, like privately held company, much like smaller, in a totally different maturity, phase or trajectory than either of those like big Fortune 5 companies I was at. And it's been awesome. It's been the most chaotic sales job I've had, but it's also been my favorite one because it's awesome. Like, it's on you in these like pre-IPO roles. It's like, you're going to figure it out. Either you figure it out or you don't, or you die on the vine. Yeah. And I kind of love, my type A self loves that like challenge and that pace. Yeah. So it's been amazing.
So throughout your existence in tech sales, if someone was interested in tech sales, what are the qualities that you would tell them that you have to have?
Oh my God. That's such a hard question because I'm thinking to when we started this recording and I was like, I really wanted to be an author and I like to write. And now fast forward to now and I'm like, I'm in tech sales, which has nothing to do with that.
Okay. But there's also like not even like soft skills,
Yeah.
you know, like what do you need to have like deep down ingrained in you, like whether it's a drive for money, like you said, you're financially motivated, like okay, cool, that's probably a massive factor.
It is. Yeah. 'Cause trust me, sales is not for the weak of heart. Like you're just not gonna last. Like you're not gonna be willing to put up with all the bullshit in sales if like you're not motivated by the payout that's on the other side. So I mean, I definitely think that is an important factor. Also, I feel like if you're someone who is, you know, we've been talking about type 3-esque or is just very motivated by achievement, like documented achievement. You have a goal, you achieve it, you're recognized for that. It's very black and white in sales, right? It's like you've got a number, you hit it, you get a ton of respect and notice from leaders, coworkers, etc. when you do that. So if you're motivated by like public achievement, it's another great, I feel like, field to go into because it can reward you very much in that sense. So I feel like that's another thing. Like if you just like always chasing like what that next goal is and you like to be very like recognized for that work in front of your peers, it's a great avenue to go down for that. You know, you get called out on calls in front of your leadership. You get to go to President's Club, which is literally the ultimate like recognize me for all the great work I've done. Like it's as silly as it sounds, like I think it does appeal to people that have that kind of motivation in them. Yeah. And then I would say the third thing would be, we've kind of talked about this too, like at the end of the day, some days I feel like I'm like a psychiatrist. I'm like, it is about working with people. Like you are working with clients and you're, trying to sell them a product, which I hope that you are like jazzed about, you're passionate about, but you're really like working through the psyche of like getting someone to make a decision regardless of like what it is that you're selling. So I think you have to want to really understand like what motivates other people and you really want to understand how you can be a part of that journey with them. I think that's another piece that's like such a like a natural trait that if you're like, oh, I feel like I'm really good at that. Or I remember when I was in elementary school, like it's weird the shit that sticks with you. We were going around and we were like complimenting, like it was like some exercise my teacher was doing. You had to like say something nice about like the person next to you, and Alexis, literally never forget her name, Alexis Green, said about me, she was like, and we're in 5th grade, she was like, Kristen, we had just learned what a code switcher is, which is like knowing how to like tailor your communication style to like the type of person you're talking to. She was like, Kristen is a really good code switcher, and that has like stuck with me. So I'm saying this to all the fellow code switchers out there. That's a really great skill for selling because you have to cater your delivery style and your communication style to the type of person you are.
That's on the other side.
I'm talking to like y'all, like chief technology officers, people who could not be more different than me. These are very like analytical, very like scientific based, logical people. And you know, learning how to tailor your style to fit into their decision-making process. Yeah. If you can code switch into that, I think sales is a great opportunity for you. It's about learning how to communicate with other people in the most effective way.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I think last question to wrap it up. If you have any advice for someone who's trying to figure it out, what would you tell them?
Saved the hardest question for the end. I see you, G. I see you. I'm going to give a classic like consultant answer, which is like I answer a question with a question or just like something that's not definitive. I think if you're trying to figure it out, that means you already have, like you're doing it right, because the secret sauce, as I get older, I'm sure you can attest to this. We like grew up thinking adults had it all figured out. No. I mean, my mom was my role model. I was like, look, she's got it all. She's balanced it all. When you get older, you realize no one does. I would even argue you have figured it out less the older you get. Like I felt way more confident in my direction when I was younger than I even do now.
100%.
So for someone who's trying to figure it out, you feel lost. Just the fact that you feel that, you're like, oh, I really want to figure it out. Guess what? That means you're already well on the way, because most of us out here are literally playing it by ear
100%.
day by day.
Every day.
And I talk to executives as part of my job. Guess what? The people in those C-level roles, sometimes they know less than the people who are like below them, right?
Yep.
It is truly, everyone is figuring it out day by day. No one has it all figured out. And I would argue if they do, then they are not self-realized yet. They are
100%.
not fully self-realized.
Yeah.
So that's my advice. If you're figuring it out, you're going down the right path. And guess what? That's going to be a lifelong journey of figuring it out. So get comfortable and embrace being in that space of
Uncomfortability.
being in that space of not knowing all the answers, not knowing your exact endpoint, not knowing where you're going to end up, because that's life, baby. Like you're always going to be in that mode. And I think that's the mode where you grow the most. And that's what we're here for, you know? So that's I like answered it with a non-answer, but
you did answer.
That's my answer. Yeah. That's my answer, is like, if you're asking yourself that question, guess what? You're on your way.
You're well on your way
to figuring it out, because you never will.
Yeah.
And that's just being human.
It is.
That's what it's about.
100%. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun. I truly am like so humbled to be here. This is such a blast.
Well, I loved having you, and you are well on your way too.
Great. We're on our way, dude.
We're on our way.
We're on our way. Beyond, you know, maybe someone hire us, Best Buy hire us for your camera needs, because we're well on our way on figuring that out.
Yeah, because my camera like won't stop dying.
We're multifaceted, talented women.
I may be good at talking, but the tech, maybe not.
Yeah, but it's a learned skill.
It is. Okay.
This was so fun.
I know.
Should we get another glass of wine when we're
I
done?
think so.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's go do it.